So I've been thinking about this. If it's non-essential and it's not for a job that is employment, why do you go to these cities, man, and clog up lanes of traffic if you don't have to? I'm just asking the question, man. Just a logical question, an observation in the science of it all. In science. Observation, human psychology, human sociology, socio-psychodynamics. Why? Just a simple question. So, let me put it into perspective for you. Are humans punishing themselves because they feel guilty about something? Is that why they torture themselves and they sit in traffic all day and all night long? If they're not going to work, okay, let's be clear about this. If they're not going to work, no work. That is the constant there. Okay? It's not going to change, man. I am talking about scenarios in which the human being is not ever going to work. I am not talking about cases in which people are working. It is not for employment. Not for employment purposes. Are we clear on that? Do we have that understanding? Okay, so every scenario that I'm referring to is a scenario involving nothing but recreational purposes. In other words, of all the infinite things that a person can do, for recreation, why is it that humans who are not on their way to work, because I know there's someone out there who still just doesn't fucking get it and still isn't on the same fucking page as me, okay? If you're not following, if you're not listening, if you're half listening, if you're half awake, if you're half baked, I am talking about situations that have nothing to do with someone going to fucking work. I'm looking at traffic right now, dude. I'm going in the opposite direction of traffic. You know why? I choose not to participate in the equation. Nope. I'm going the other way. And I'm looking at all these people in traffic. It's Saturday. I'm going to guess that at least 30 to 40% of these people, are not going to work. Yeah, some of them are. But I'd say at least a third of these people, because I know there's someone out there who's like, but they're people going to work. They're people. Yeah, on Saturday. I've already accounted for that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I mentioned it, but that's not my point. I'm talking about those who are not going to work. Do we understand each other, man? I know I've said that a lot of times, but sometimes you try to talk to people now in the 21st century, and quite frankly, they've been dumbed down, okay? By way of technology, by way of stupidity, and they're just not fucking paying attention. I am thinking about, contemplating, that is considering, for the sake of science, the subset of the human population that does not work on the weekends. Friday, after work, Saturday, Sunday. Okay? Who is on the road? Who is not on the road for employment purposes? Not going to or from a job. Okay, great. Now that we understand each other, that's all we're talking about here. People who are out joyriding. If you're a joyrider, that is someone who, out of everything that can be done in the multiverse by way of human activity, you have chosen to just drive because you just want to go for a joyride. You're just like, There are zillions of things I can do, but I'm going to joyride. It's Saturday, Friday. I'm off work. Man. It's Friday after work. Woohoo! Yeah, man. Let's fucking rock and roll, dude. Woohoo! Totally tubular, dude. To the max, man. Okay? You got Friday in the evening or whenever you get off work. If you work, even on fucking Friday. But starting Friday, going into Saturday and Sunday, of anything and everything conceivable in the universe, multiverse of science, you want to fucking joyride. Those are the people that we're talking about. You're just like, man, I got to get out and get in traffic, man. That's what I do. Those are the people who I'm talking about. Let me ask you this, man. Why? No, not for folks who live in the burbs. Nope, not for folks who live in the projects, low-income housing, and it's easy to get around the streets. Nope, not for people who live in little small towns, middle class, upper class, lower class. No. Not talking about where it's easy to get around. Where you can get out on your bike, motorbike, skateboard, scooter, your car, and you can just drive, man. Just go joyride. Take the little scenic route through town. Look at the suburbs. Check out the projects. Check out the mansions. Just an easy drive, man. Like you're an easy rider, man. No, I'm not talking about that. That's not the scenario that we're discussing here. If you're in that category, not talking to you. Not addressing you. I did, but that's not my fucking point. I'm talking about the people who, they are rational, well, you would think, rational adults over the age of 18, high school equivalency, at least diploma or equivalency, educated, at least a fucking high school education, and over the age of 18 in North America. I know that's a broad range of individuals. That's what we're looking for here. For this study, this exploration. Now, no mental health issues, no histories of mental illness, able-bodied, no health medical issues. Rational without any type of history of mental illness. Just like if you were to join or sign up for the U.S. military. Government employment of some kind, federal. If you know that what you're about to do is going to result in you driving in or driving into a city where there... Now listen, you have the inalienable. Some would even say unalienable, depending on their observation of grammar and the Queen's English. You have the inalienable right. Is it Article 14, United Nations? Something like that. If you even observe the United Nations and their so-called rule of law. I could be wrong, but you have the inalienable right written somewhere accordingly. In that, you're able to go anywhere you want in the world, man. If you want to pick up and fucking move somewhere else, as long as that country will allow you, you live on planet Earth, man. You can pretty much go wherever the fuck you want. Now, consult with your legal counsel, attorney, lawyer, if you have any questions about the law, fundamental rule of law, or whatever kind of law. I'm not here to give, and I am not giving any kind of legal, business, financial advice, or otherwise. None of this information should be construed as advice. Go wherever the fuck you want, man, and if you think there's an issue, and you being able to go to that place, or not being able to go to that place, man, talk to a lawyer. Don't talk to me about it. Check this out. My question, however, is this. If you know that you're about to go to some fucking city, or you're already in some fucking city where there's massive traffic with block lanes of traffic, of all the things in the multiverse that you could be doing, why would you be doing that? Why do you do that? I'm just wondering, why, if you're not going to work? Those of you who are paying attention, those of you who are following what it is that I'm expressing here, can you please let the motherfuckers know who aren't paying attention, who are half woke, okay, but ain't really woke, of all the infinite number of things that can be done on Earth and in space and in the multiverse. You know, I'll give you some examples. You could garden, like community garden, or maybe you have a garden. Let's see. You could go for a walk. You could volunteer somewhere. You could be part of a meetup group. You could read a book. You could write a book. You could, run errands around town by way of alternative means of transportation. That is, I'm just saying, you could ride a bike. You could maybe take a skateboard or a scooter. One of those motorized skateboards, or maybe non-motorized. Let's see. You could always walk. Let's see, what else? What else could you do? Leisurely activities. You could I don't know, man, if you're someone of faith, you could enjoy fellowship, congregation, whatever, place of worship, whatever it is that you do. If you're a person of faith, spiritual person, whatever religion, I don't know. I'm a non-religious person. I don't get involved in religions. I come from a Judeo-Christian background, but I don't have time for churches and what have you. Cause I got other things going on. I believe in God. I don't spend a bunch of time sitting around in church to hear the same word of God over and over again, especially when I grew up in the church, man. For me, it's just a fucking waste of time. If I want to read some scriptures, man, I just go online, download the Bible or whatever, the Torah, you know what I mean? And just kind of read, or some ancient, Sanskrit papyrus that's been digitized. You know what I'm saying? And I'll read from that, lexicon, canon, body tome of information. If I really feel the need to do that. See what else? Oh, yeah, you can go to school. You can learn. You can get educated. Hey, if you already have a degree, maybe start working on a new one. And if you don't want a new one, just learn something new, man. Take up a new field of study. Research. So many things, man. You can do surveys. You can do this and that. And, you can be athletic, man. Get involved in the sport. Some sport. How many sports exist on planet Earth? Google, how many sports exist? How many types of sports exist? Let's see. What else is possible, man? What else can people do? See, we already talked about writing, typing, books, stories, audio. Oh, speaking of which, media. Maybe watch a movie. Maybe watch something on the tube. Listen to a podcast, create a podcast, create your own tube station. I don't know, man, hang out on social media. I'm just wondering, though. I'm wondering, man. Why is it that you have to fucking go sit in traffic, man? Why? What is it? Are you programmed like Westworld? Are humans really animatronic robots that are biological entities that are programmed to go sit in traffic and to create gridlock in traffic congestion? I'm not talking about the people who have to drive for work or to take their children somewhere or seniors or family somewhere. That's not what I'm talking about. If you're listening closely and carefully and paying motherfucking goddamn attention. I said non-essential driving. If it's not for an appointment, to see a doctor, something medical, something urgent, if you're not taking someone somewhere for something, if you're just going to drive for the sake of, oh yeah, yeah man, it's the weekend, yeah, yeah man, of everything we could do, you know, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, traffic, you know, let's just go sit in it. I see people do that shit every fucking weekend, man. And I just look at them like, you going to a ball game, man? You going to a diner somewhere? You gonna go sit down and get some food? You gonna get you a little brunch somewhere? Oh, yeah. Hey, man. Hey, good for you. Good for you, man. But it requires that you sit in traffic for a few hours to get that little taste? To get the little taste? Oh, yeah, that's worth it, bro. That's worth it, sis. I totally understand. You're doing what you love in life, man. You're doing you, man. Yeah, man. Oh, no, you don't mind? You don't mind to sit in the wait? That's cool, man. Hey, you have the inalienable right to do whatever you want, man, with your time on this planet. You don't mind sitting in gridlock? You don't mind sitting in traffic to get through that tunnel? Yeah, to get across that bridge, to get into or out of that city? Hey, man, I totally understand, man. Totally understand you. Oh, no, I'm totally not using sarcasm as a vehicle with which to convey and impart certain information about human activity. Oh, no, I'm not. But, oh, yes, I am. You know, man, I just look at fucking Americans, man, fellow Americans, and I observe how people live in excess in contrast to people who have not. And I'm talking about even folks in America who are considered low income, who get money because they're on some type of public assistance. You know, they get EBT, and I'm talking about a subset of those who even get EBT, food stamps that is, and government, public assistance. I'm talking about the ones that actually sell their assistance that they get for money so that they can buy dope, drugs, fucking invest in drugs so they can sell drugs, maybe sell and do drugs. You know, there's a history of that in America. You know, I'm from a low-income family. Well, we're middle class, but for those of you who don't know, simple backstory, I'm from a middle class family. My grandparents were middle class, right across the board. All the way around, solid middle class. My mother had me, and she moved out on her own. She was in the military at the time. My dad was never fucking around in my entire lifetime because he was a philanderer, so he went out and fucked around with a bunch of different women, had a bunch of different kids, like 15-ish, and he never gave his children any money, at least not me, not my sister, not my mother. So my mother actually had to take him to court at some point, but to get back pay. But that was after we were over the age of 18 and in our 20s. So that little piece of money went to my mother, who raised my sister and I by herself as a soldier in the military, because my dad, who was supposed to be a fucking soldier, was never around. So my mother, the real soldier in the family, she took care of my sister and I, and she raised us all by herself, along with my grandmother and my aunt and my uncle. So in that, coming from a middle-class family, for the first 8 years of my life, my mother, she lived in low-income housing. And then she got her college degree, got higher pay because she had 2 jobs, not just a military job, because she was in the in the Army, and then after 4 years, she transferred into the Naval Reserves. So at some point, she was in the Naval Reserves, and it wasn't full-time, but she ended up spending 20-plus years in the Naval Reserves, and more than 20 years in the armed forces overall. Point is that she moved out of the projects at some point after 8 years of my life, and we moved into the burbs. She could have asked her mother and her father, my grandparents, for money. She never did. She did it all by herself. All by herself. So we went back to the burbs, basically. We went back to the suburbs, which is where my grandparents are from. Middle class, and my mother, she earned, her right of passage as a grown woman, having left her parents' home. So we made it out of the hood, and so even though we were out of the hood, man, I continued to associate with folks from around town, some of whom still lived in the PJs, man. That is the low-income housing projects. And when the drug wars of the 1980s, late 80s and 1990s, the drug war, as they call it in America, sparked off, I was in that war. And when the police, drug, gang, crack wars were afoot and were well underway, man, I used to see it all the time, man. People selling fucking food stamps for dope. People selling food stamps for money. You'd go to a picnic on the 1st, like Bone Thugs and Harmony says, it's the 1st of the month. Cash your checks, get up, or whatever they say, man. Shit. We having a celebration. Funny on one hand, not funny on another hand, man. The plight of human society. I'm talking about destitute folks living in abject poverty, being addicted to chemical substances. And it's sad, man, and it's tragic, and I saw that. I saw that firsthand, man. And it's quite disparaging, man. And I have a little bit of PTSD from that shit, because that was a dark fucking time. And I was immersed in that world, man, for some decades. Definite. Oh, I believe 6 times more people died in that war than the number of deaths in the Vietnam War. 6 times as many people died. I saw crazy shit, man. To say the least, man. Just a heinous, crazy, medieval, barbaric shit, man. And look at this spammer right here, man. Look at this fucking motherfucking spammer, man. The fucking piece of shit has nothing better in the world to do but fucking spam people, man. Sitting back, using an auto dialer, spamming people. What a fucking mindless piece of shit on this fucking planet. No, there's no reason to help people who are in need. There's no reason to volunteer your time. There's no reason to, contribute to humanity. Why don't you just sit behind a fucking desk, man, or office, or little, internet earpiece, man, with your laptop or your desktop or your auto dialer, man. Why don't you just try to scam people over the phone, man? Fucking worthless piece of shit. Fucking less than human scum. I'll say less than human because, man, some people have devolved, man. They've devolved and they've become some other thing. Yeah, some less than fucking human, miscreant, fucking dirt, scum. So yeah, man. So the point is, I've been in urban environments, man, where people have public assistance and they're using it to buy dope, man. They can go to the dope man. They can take their food stamps or their EBT money and they can tell the dope man or the dope woman, yo, check game. I got so many food stamps when they used to have food stamps. Or I got so much money on this card or these cards. Because, you know, it's not always that person's card. They'll have, like, other people's cards and shit. Back in the day, man, food stamps were just like fucking money in the hood, man. The dope man or dope woman, we'll just say dope man, meaning both genders, you know, male or female selling D, that's dope. A person could take their fucking stack of food stamps, or like a group of people would put their stamps together, and they'd go to the dope man, and they'd be like, yo, what's up? And the dope man might give them 50%. Whatever they got. Say they got 500 in food stamps, dope man will give them 250 in fucking in dope. You know? Some of those smokers, they might sell some of their dope. Some of those people might not be smokers, and they might be dope dealers. And they might not smoke. So anyway, food stamps historically, man, have been a means of currency, man, used for crime and corruption, man, on some level and many levels in impoverished communities and neighborhoods, man, for those of y'all who don't know that. And it's the first of the month. Cash your checks and get up. Not fucking funny, though, man. We having a celebration. I believe that's Bone Thugs and Harmony, first of the month. So, wow. But my point, I don't have a PhD, man, but y'all can call me Professor Grove if you want. Maybe one day I'll earn one. Maybe they'll just give me an honorable mention or an honorable PhD. But yeah, y'all can call me Professor Grove. I'm cool with that. Or Dr. Grove or Dr. Grover. I'm just saying, man. I'm a bit knowledgeable about a thing or two. Yeah. Back before they even had degrees, motherfuckers called themselves doctors. And they didn't even have fucking degrees. They're just like, oh yeah, hey, what's up, doc? And doc would be like, well, I'm working on a time machine. And they're like, wow, when will it be ready? And the doc's like, in due time. Grover made a joke. Y'all didn't see that one coming, huh? And that was on the fly. So one might say impromptu. Yeah, man. So you notice I'm not in rush hour traffic. I'm not in traffic, man. Nope. Remove myself from that equation. It's just sitting here, man. You know, doing a little Buddhist meditation with y'all. Eastern philosophy, philosophizing. Doctor of philosophy I am not, but could ultimately be. But I am a philosopher nonetheless. So yeah, man, just wondering, you know, transhumanism. Thinking about Ray Kurzweil, the singularity, as I often reference, talk about, point to. Thinking about Professor Ronald Millett's time machine that he's working on, which will be ready in due time. And he's a real doctor. That is professor of mathematics, mind you. And in fact, the last time he and I communicated, it was regarding resolving the fuzziness of the resolution of the time displacement, which would be the amplitude of the wave. So, yeah, facts, by the way. I mean, man, I tend to be involved in science here and there, man. I communicate with different, well, I'll call them luminaries, you know, people in the field, you know, of whom I have an interest in their, shall we say, works. So yeah, man, you know, what's up with Professor Michio Kaku? I'm just saying, man, a lot of folks out here, man, involved in research, analysis, science, development. Shout outs to everyone in the preceding category. Neil deGrasse, all such folks in the realm of science, exploration. The late Carl Sagan. I'm a huge fan of each and every one of said scientists. Yeah, man. Andrew Basaggio, his story is interesting as well. I find his knowledge to be quite comprehensive and in depth. I mean, there are a lot of people, man, out here who are involved in hyperspace exploration. In fact, you know what? Let me let y'all in on a little something. So I was watching this video on YouTube today, and it was about the secrets of anti-gravity. You had no idea that this was going to turn into a discussion about anti-gravity. Did y'all? So let me see. Let's see. So bear with me, and I'm going to point y'all in a direction that perhaps you did not anticipate. Anti-gravity 2019 space program secret. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. Anti-gravity 2019. I'm just typing this into the Google lattice matrix. Hold on. Okay, so I don't want to interfere with the because on the one computer it will. Let me see. What was the name of that fucking video? Okay, here we go. Let me see. Space program. How did they have that technology? 2019. Future news. No. NASA. Let's see. Secret space program, anti-gravity, 2019. All right. Nope, that's not it either. So, all right, hold on. German, Nazi, spacecraft, airships, 2019. Because it starts off talking about airships, and let me see if I can bring it up without ending this podcast. So, just in case this podcast gets cut off, I'll let you know what I know from my handwritten notes here. So I was driving, man. I was multitasking, so I didn't screenshot the video. And it's something about the secret space program, airships, German airships, Nazis, Third Reich, 2019. How did they get that technology? Why weren't we told? ... It's a really long title. So what I wrote while it was stop and go traffic, when I said, okay, I see what's going on here. Time to remove myself from this traffic equation. When I would come to a red light, I'd pull out the mechanical pencil and the notepad. And so what I have here, T. Townsend. That's T as in Tango, Townsend. And then what it was saying, what one of the presenters, because there are a lot of commentators, a lot of speakers, a lot of analysts, a lot of observers, a lot of narrate. It's not just one person doing the narration of this video presentation. There are a lot of different scientists and authors and analysts and observers. So these notes are from the various individuals therein. And so it says T. Townsend. And what it basically was saying, what this video was illuminating, illustrating, elucidating, Dang, girl, get your Zumba on and yo Pilates, ha 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 ha, yoga. Damn, she got a nice shape. You're probably like, come on, Grove, let's stick to time travel technology, anti-gravity, and I'm just saying, she is a beautiful, design of, God, nature. So, I gotta take notice, man, of God's magnificence. So, what it was saying was that so people in mainstream society are fooled. They're hornswoggled, bamboozled, and led to believe that if you're not listening to One Sir Grove's podcast or some other podcast, Joe Rogan, Michio Kaku, Ronald Millett, Neil deGrasse, Andrew Bashad. I say Basiago, but others say Basajo, and I've heard different pronunciations of his name. Project Pegasus. Dr. Kramer, University of Washington, Ronald Millett, University of Connecticut. If you're not tuned in to that wave function of the time travel technology stream, then you're in mainstream society, man, where time travel is considered unreal, not yet materialized, not yet existing, non-existent, that is, and fringe science. But let me show you something in the singularity. That used to be the case, mostly. Now, a lot of scientists and observers globally, when polled, that is with a scientific, measurable, standardized, statistical poll, when people are asked, do you believe that time travel is possible? Before, in the past, people would say, man, that shit's some quackery. That's some Doctor Who bullshit. It's cool, man, to imagine, but totally impossible. You know those fucking scientists that were like, it's impossible. Then they changed it. Well, the thing is, the fundamental, laws of nature, they don't actually disallow time travel. In fact, time travel is, by the very fundamental laws of nature, mathematics, and physics, time travel happens all the time. There are certain classes of particles that are said to, now keep in mind, some people think they're hypothetical, like the tachyon, for example, but others, similar to the Higgs boson, believe that they indeed exist, just like the Higgs boson was theorized, hypothesized, posited, postulated to exist, and then later came to be measurable and does in fact exist. So going back to the tachyon, similarly, some, for whatever reason, still believe that the tachyon is a hypothetical subatomic particle that travels or has the ability to travel backward in time. And I believe that time travel does exist, and I'm not saying that the tachyon can or cannot travel back in time, but the point is, there are certain fundamental laws of nature that do not disallow time travel. So I'm saying as a scientist that time travel is possible, and I know that it's possible as per the fundamental laws of nature, but time travel is only possible in one direction. That's what they talk about, man. See, they keep changing shit, man. Time travel is only possible in one direction. First of all, that's a farce that time travel happens in only one direction. Secondly, that's a medieval notion that time travel fucking can only go in one direction. Thirdly, that violates the laws of non-linearity. It doesn't even make any fucking sense that time travel would fucking occur in only one fucking unidirectionally. Does that even make any sense? We know time travel's fucking possible because we have evidence of time travelers. We have evidence of wormholes. That is America. Come on, man. Stop fucking playing, man. Bermuda Triangle. I just saw the fucking video on YouTube. Some people think that the Bermuda, it's swamp gas. Keep in mind, listen, the military isn't pretending like shit is swamp gas anymore. They're not pretending like the shit is an optical illusion. They're not pretending that ETs don't exist. They're not denying that the lights that are in the sky are not flares. Okay? If y'all follow what I follow, the last time there was that fork in the road where the military could have easily said, no, you see, those are flares that are military grade, and they tend to descend at a very slow rate of speed, and they're so ultra bright that at the distance, by which they're observed by human observers, with the curvature of space-time and light diffraction and refraction and so on and so forth, the index of light distribution. Humans believe that the lights in the sky that are some type of like orbs or something that are actual lights that are like mechanical or like electronic in nature, electrical, when in fact they're merely flares, man. Descending at a really fucking incredibly slow rate of speed, man. The military used to say that. Dude, the lights over Arizona, if you look at the fucking lights over Arizona, it's clearly a fucking massive spacecraft. It's clearly a massive fucking spacecraft. All those lights are within a certain distance from each other, connected on an axis, line, point, symmetry, system, and they're all fucking connected, dude. That shit is they're not flares. You can even see some of the structure of the ship, and I believe there were multiple ships. It's dark, but you can make out the ship, man. It's fucking there. And those lights are part of the ship. It's cloaked. Come on, man. Don't be fucking dumb. Don't be stupid. So, yeah. And, so, the point is, the military doesn't say that shit anymore. Because the military knows that people are approaching, that the military and humans that were approaching the singularity, and they know that humans aren't buying the story anymore. The deception is over. It's worn off, the spell of hypnosis and brainwash. No one's buying it. People have smartphones. They're like, well, I took a picture of the lights over, I don't know, New Jersey or Washington State, and yeah, here, I just beamed it onto YouTube for the whole world to see. Now, you see how if you take a pencil and you draw a line, right, or you take a protractor or like a ruler, see how these are all geometrically, like perfectly aligned along a line and then an intersection point, so therefore an XY axis, okay? Now, keep it steady. Watch it. Watch for it. Notice how they all still stay connected along those lines of symmetry. And they're not descending at an incredibly slow rate of speed. They're all still suspended in fucking space-time at fixed points of anti-fucking gravity. And it's not some flare shit that the fucking military is trying to tell you that it is. So the military's like, all right, people have smartphones now, game over. Yeah, they're ETs. So that's the reality, man. We know that shit. We know that these are crafts that come from somewhere. And we know that when they're cloaked, despite being cloaked, the intelligent operators or the systems that are aboard the ship that are perhaps autonomous, whenever they come into our Earth's atmosphere, enter the Earth, when they semi-decloak, some lights pop on, and they're just chilling, man, doing surveillance, gathering intelligence, scanning the spectrum, doing whatever the fuck they're doing. We know that shit, man. And so the point is, man, knowing this reality, there are people who have come forward who have said that this whole thing is staged up. And that the history that you and I were taught in schools, that is, if you were in the public school or even private school system, anywhere on planet Earth, the history was sanitized and scrubbed. And when you look at World War II, for example, leading up to World War II, going back to the 1920s, they talk in this video about dirigibles. For those of you who don't know what a dirigible is, an airship. Okay? Like a motherfucking blimp type shit. So there was a German, there were Germans who had created a secret society. And the purpose of that society, pre-Nazi society, was to dominate the globe, okay, the world. And one of the ways in which they sought to accomplish that was to create and therefore come into, possess ultra advanced technology beyond anything humans in mainstream society knew about, were aware of, and could comprehend and understand on any type of conventional level of thinking. So there's evidence that has come forward, emerged, materialized, in that German, I can't remember his nationality, but there's a man, if you watch the video, there's a man who, he was part of this airship community. And the Germans working secretively, in secret, to create ultra advanced aircrafts that utilized anti-gravity. So yes, a blimp, helium, whatever is being used in the movies that you saw and in the history that you saw and of which you're aware, if you're unaware of what I'm about to impart to you. So I'm not talking about blimps that are powered by helium or balloons, like balloons that are powered by like helium or some type of gas. I'm talking about airships that are piloted by anti-gravity systems. That's what these Germans were doing. And they were doing this back in the 1920s. And yes, the anti-gravity technology is derived from aliens. So when you watch these movies, what was it, the Hindenburg? When you watch these fucking movies about World War II, World War I, World War II, when you Hindenburg disaster documentary, when you see in the textbooks and in films these planes that fly, that are prop planes, prop planes is in propellers, and props in that analogous to a stage play. The true history of what took place during World War I and World War II, the real history has been sanitized and scrubbed from human society, or at least it had been. Because the powers that be didn't want for folks to know that Delta Wing aircraft stealth technology was being used in World War II by the Germans, by the Nazis. Basically, man, when you look back in time at World War II, it looks like some dinosaur age shit, man. Some Stone Age medieval shit with these little, like, what is it called? Balsa wood. When you're a kid, remember creating those? You get the little aircraft, little flimsy plane that comes in the little piece of paper Yeah, balsa wood airplane. I'm bringing it up right here. And, you take the little pieces of, like, thin pieces of, like, wood, and you put the little airplane together. It comes in a little piece of paper, right? It's a little paper, like sheath, like sleeve, and you pull out the few little pieces of wood, and then you assemble the little, like, lightweight, like, balsa wood plane, and then you, like, throw it in the air, and it just kind of, like, soars, right? That's what World War fucking II looks like, with the exception of, motorized aircraft, right? But you don't see the anti-gravity machines. You don't see the you don't see the orbs, right? That pilots talked about seeing off the wings of their planes, because World War II pilots, they were actually observant of balls of light that would follow their aircraft, some of them, and would observe the pilots piloting their aircrafts. And so you don't see that in movies. There were many pilots in World War II, and even today, who see balls of light, spherical balls of energy, balls of light that follow planes and aircraft and jets on the sides of the aircraft and around the aircraft. This has been documented over time, that pilots would see balls of light outside their aircraft. And watch, when I say balls of light outside aircraft, observed. Okay, let's see here what it says. Mysterious lights filmed from plane. 5 mysterious balls of light, intelligent white orbs caught. Let's do this. Fugazi. Let's do this. Balls of light observed by World War II pilots. Let's see what it says here, man. All right. It says World War II pilots report seeing UFOs. Mysterious light balls for these strange objects. The term Foo Fighters. Yeah, Foo Fighters. That's right, Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters, meaning. Okay, this is, what the fuck am I doing? This is YouTube. Doi, Grover! Doi! Alright, let me see. Come on, Google. Fucking piece of shit. Fucking howl-ass computer. Foo Fighters, meaning. Speed it up, Google! Google likes to play fucking games, dude. Because it's really Howl, man. It's really government AI playing fucking games with the human element. So it says right here, because it goes really... Look, when I'm doing the podcast, man, the shit goes really fucking slow. And I'm talking on a different computer, different device than the one where I know what's up, man. Man, Google be listening even when you don't ask Google to listen. Like, I've said some shit, man. The other day I was talking about an international force to be reckoned with. And then it came up and it was like, hi, did you just say something that requires me to assist? And I was like, no, I actually didn't, motherfucker. But I knew that you were listening to my statement about an international force to be reckoned with. But you know what, man? I already know what's up with Google, man. Google's the supercomputer, man, that fucking Al Bielek talks about. It's one of them. It's one of several fucking massive computers that was created by the U.S. military. And the company just pretends like it's a private sector fucking entity. I'm already hit, dude. So, and that's why the backbone is D-Wave. The backbone is D-Wave, which are quantum computers which run Google. You see, Google is a quantum computer array, and not only is it operating from a quantum backbone, but it's tied into CERN. It absolutely is. I know some of you may think that's absurd. You need to do some deeper research, man. And I'm not even a conspiracy theorist. Just ask the Google company, man, if they use D-Wave computers. Ask CERN if they use D-Wave computers. They both do. And the quantum D-Wave computers that they use, that is CERN and Google, they're classified military-grade D-Wave quantum computers. And CERN is tied into Google. You don't think it is? Well, you're misinformed. So yeah. So it says Foo Fighter, Wikipedia. The term Foo Fighter was used by Allied aircraft pilots in World War II to describe various UFOs or mysterious aerial phenomena. Oh, look, there's a Nazi there's a Nazi flying saucer. What a coincidence. The term Foo Fighter was used by Allied aircraft pilots in World War II to describe various, yes, I know I just said this, UFOs or mysterious aerial phenomena. But you know where it goes, ... And then you got to open the page, the link. Seen in the skies over both the European and Pacific theaters of operations. Though Foo Fighter initially described a type of UFO reported and named by the U.S. 415th Night Fighter Squadron, the term was also commonly used to mean any UFO sighting from that period. Formally reported from November 1944 onwards, witnesses often assumed that the Foo Fighters were secret weapons employed by the enemy. The Robertson panel explored possible explanations, for instance, that they were It's fucking stupid. Listen to this. The Robertson panel, obviously the Robertson panel is fucking total disinformation. The Robertson panel explored possible explanations. For instance, that they were electrostatic phenomena similar to St. Elmo's fire, electromagnetic phenomena, or simply reflections of light from ice crystals. Doing! Come on, dude. You see the extent that they have gone to fucking lie to humans? Alright, so listen. Some people are like, come on, Grove, who are they? And I'm like, they live, motherfucker! Get a clue, homie! That's who they are! So, the entities that look like humans that live perpetually, the ones that actually don't die and that they reanimate, and they've been here for... They live, motherfucker! So I'm talking about they. So you were told, man, when you were a kid, that gravity is elusive and it's an unknown force in the universe. What is gravity? Is it even for real? I mean, we kind of sense it, do we not? We're held, to the earth in some type of gravity field. But is it real, man? But does it really exist? Or do we just call it gravity? It's something we can't touch, but are we actually touching it, perhaps? And we're just not necessarily, able to put our, finger on it, but we do. But we don't. But we do. Because it's what holds us, man. Or does it? Or yes, it doesn't. Or doesn't it? Come on, man. That's the type of bullshit, man, that you've been fucking told and lied to about. You know why? You know why? It's called a fixed point. Because you're a fixed point on a plane. Yeah, and if you knew the secrets of fucking anti-gravity, you could fucking gravitate your way up out of some shit. Yeah, man. So, The powers that be, I don't know who they are, just I know they live, and I know they're the shadow government, man. They were suppressing the technologies of the anti-gravity type as they were being created and developed, engineered, designed by smart scientists, one of whom happens to be someone that most of you folks in mainstream media have never heard of. That's right. You have never heard of before. Now, you're familiar with Nikola Tesla, I would imagine. Who isn't at this point, right? Nikola Tesla was actually posthumously accredited with, or credited with having achieved the first transoceanic, that is, radio broadcast. Radio signal broadcast. Yeah, in the trivia fucking games, it said that it was Marconi. Marconi simply took credit for Nikola Tesla's actual, factual first transoceanic radio broadcast. That's right, man. Nikola Tesla did the very first fucking radio broadcast transoceanically. Marconi took credit for it. When the FBI released some of the Tesla files just some years ago, the ones that had been highly classified, the FBI had to admit that there was a lie that had been told about Nikola Tesla, and that it was actually Tesla who did the very first transcontinental radio broadcast. And Marconi was just a piece of shit, liar, deceiver, fucking fraud. So, you've heard of Nikola Tesla. A lot of what he did is still classified to this day. But have you heard of T. Townsend? Ha ha! No, most of you, 99% of you haven't. Even though T. Townsend worked with Tesla. Well, in that field, on the Philadelphia experiment project, ha ha ha, that fucking Tesla was part of, so they had to know each other. Oh no, I highly doubt it was compartmentalized in such a way that they didn't cross paths. I'm pretty sure they worked together based on available intel that kind of like leaked out in the mainstream society. Yeah. So T. Townsend, man. So what these notes say here, and then I'm gonna get that video for you so y'all can go and watch the video. It says that with 100,000 volts, if you take a piece of electrical material, if you say, for example, if you take a piece of metal, right, and you electrify it, or a capacitor, if you charge a capacitor to 100,000 volts, it says that through the process of electrogravitics, that the metal will move upward, and that it can become suspended to the ceiling, and that it will move toward the positive terminal. And it says what is that? Brownfield? B-field Brown effect? B-field Brown? Positive anode equals thrust up. Oh, and then there's another field known as electrokinetics. Electrokinetics. And these are highly classified fields of science because they involve anti-gravity. And the Germans were using anti-gravity, and when one of the airship society members, just before he passed, I'll have to go back and look at the timeline, his writings, his art his sketchings, his drawings, they were found, or they came into someone's possession through some kind of sort of way. And the depictions, the renderings, the blueprints, the schematics, the diagrams, the mappings that are shown are fucking incredible. And what they point to are airships that people saw in North America and parts of Europe, that were these airships that were navigated quite intelligently, quite effortlessly, and they would actually descend, and the navigators would sometimes communicate with the human populace and show folks around the interior and the inner workings and say, yo, look, boom, check this out. So this information was reported in newspapers. But then, of course, some entity sought to sanitize that information from society so that you didn't know about it in grammar school, in grade school, in junior high school, in high school or fucking college, or wherever you've worked in the military or government, unless you've been in the fucking secret space program. You feel me? You dig? So, that's what that video discusses, man, and talks about. That's what's talked about in that video, because the video itself doesn't actually, it's not sentient, or some may say sentient, and the video itself doesn't actually talk or communicate. So I know the actual grammar, but sometimes I get loose with it because, fuck being formal and scholarly all the time, you know what I mean? Because there's rigor involved in that motherfucking shit. And I'm not about that life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit here and make sure everything is crafted in such a way that, it's, so so as to avoid using profanity or some type of non-standard English. It doesn't have to be perfectly fucking written. Fuck all that noise, man. I prefer to use the colloquial a lot of times. So given that, to that end, let me see if I can bring up this video real quick and let y'all know what it is. Give me one moment. If this podcast episode cuts out, I'll just tell you the name of the video that's kind of tucked away on the internet, but definitely probably the best anti-gravity evidence video I've ever fucking laid eyes upon. One moment. That's uno momento in Spanish.